It got me to 4th in the world with this MK bait deck. I was gonna post a video. I was second yesterday or the day before, but it refuses to upload with volume, so I might upload it anyway, but I will try to fix that. But it's the same deck, so you got a bit more gameplay since I might end up using this for this season. It's pretty good. Well, it's good for an MK deck, so I'll see. Anyway, first game against really hard matchup actually. Sparky, double small spell. He's also got great splash counters with the Hunter, with the Dark Prince, with the Phoenix Death. And so he goes all in first play. He does get a lucky connection, but we just... we might have been able to mine to defend. I don't think it's worth it. And so, as you can see, right, he just makes one fat push. And then, I guess, double and triple, he can go for lightning with it if he chooses to. And we'll end up doing a significant amount of damage. So, we're trying to bait out the counters, but since he has so many, you sort of have to know every card in his hand at all times to be able to create an effective push. Otherwise, this sort of matchup is just impossible. And so we can go in here. We know he's gonna go for his Phoenix. And the Sparky unfortunately gets a second hit. But we get a bit of damage. MK Splash. That's dead. So this was actually a very smart Skeleton King. Force out the Hunter as well. I think the thing with this deck, a lot of players can play it decently. Just like generally good players if they have a certain skill level. You've got to be much more creative to play it at like a top tier. Some of the pushes that you need to come up with are just really weird. They wouldn't normally work unless like you know what you're doing to a great extent. And so we're gonna go Skarmy, force out the Snowball like that. I know every time the cards he's going to play and what I need to play and how I need to outcycle. It's just difficult because he has so many great counters. So we can go for High Inferno. We know he doesn't have the Snowball. We know he wants the Lightning, so we go Skarmy as well. And as you can see, the bat's a lot of damage on the left, so actually we might even have a chance of winning. We go for Scobo at the back. This was really smart. We're not leaking. We're also making sure we have the offense, forcing out a Hunter, and then we can go in on the right. So we go for the MK Inferno Dragon. Since he doesn't have the best hand, he has to go Phoenix plus Snowball. And then we can go for a Skelly King. I think actually it was a decent Skelly King at bridge, blocking the bridge for a little bit, plus then we can get an ability. So we force out the Bar Barrel. We then go for a low Skarmy because we know he doesn't have Snowball in hand. We go for Bats as well, making sure he gets no hits, because we don't want him to get into spell cycle range. We go for the Miner to predict the Hunter, which was very nice. We force out the Snowball plus get the death damage. And we go for a Skelly King to stop the Dark Prince. So we should be in a pretty good situation actually, since now we can go opposite lane whenever he Sparkies the back. Apply the dual lane pressure with the Scobo, and then we can pop the ability, which we choose not to. That was actually smart. Instead we go try and take the tower damage. So now we're in the minor arrows range if we get a few hits, which is nice. However, we need to defend this. So again, this sort of defense, so creative, right? Defensive Scobo. We know he wants the Lightning, we use his spells, so we go for the Bats. We wait in case he snowballs, he does not, and then we can go for minor arrows to finish it off. And he misses a snowball, but he would have won anyway. So, team BMing, because, he lost a pretty easy matchup. In fact, a very easy matchup. We face the same guy in the next game. It is possible to do this. Basically, I think it's about the time. It has to be like 12 minutes between games or something like that. I'm not sure exactly. And then you can face the same person. So you get to see the same matchup twice. I mean, if you're struggling with Sparky, this is a video for you, I guess. Albeit this one's quite a lot harder than most Sparky matchups. And we also don't have any reset, because we have to use arrows with the current meta. And so, you'll see, we're applying the similar concepts. We cycle arrows, that was actually really nice. He goes for a weird gob giant at the bridge. And so we go for an Inferno behind because we don't want the Spear Goblins on the Inferno. And yeah, nice MK. Mainly because if the Spear Goblin's on the Inferno, he's going to go for Lightning, then get a load of damage since the Inferno dies. So we go for Miner to pull the Phoenix back. And that works pretty effectively. Force out a Bar Barrel, it's fine. Phoenix dies, so he has the mini one. And it would probably be quite smart to go for Scobo Skelly going opposite lane since he only has Hunter and Snowball. Yeah, I know me too well. He goes for a Gob Giant, it's fine. It's fine. It's basically dead. We actually wait a bit. Now I think we arrows here since it's kind of an awkward defense. I like the arrows timing. Might have been able to do it better, but that was pretty good. I'm not sure if you could have hit all of them plus the death damage without taking an extra hit, or plus the death Spear Goblins without taking the extra Gob Giant hit. So we're just trying to dominate any sort of bridge battles with the Inferno. Always for the Phoenix, we go for the bats to bait the Snowball. Then we're going in opposite lane, which is smart. He has no Hunter. We know that we can pop an ability and then go for the Mine on the left. We also get an MK jump. And so we're forcing him to defend the left with something. He has to go for a Dark Prince. And look at the MK. Look at it. That one Skelly as well, right? So it's pretty significant damage. And then we're pressuring opposite lane. He Sparky's the back. We're just playing stuff. We need a force response because if he stacks one fat bush and doesn't defend, then he'll just win. In fact, he probably should have not used the Snowball there and just taken the 2,500 damage or whatever it is. And he could have won potentially. But we go for a nice high Scarming with Inferno, and then here go for bats, and we can go for the MK. We go for bats since he didn't have Snowball. We're then also going for Scobo, we're going for Mine Chip, and we're just trying to do the last bits of damage we need. We also go for bats again, since he doesn't have the defensive counters in hand for the second round. And then we get the MK splash. So a nice way to finish it off. He BMs again, we give him the thanks because he's bad. And he deserved it. Final game. Oh, this was probably some of the best MK8 gameplay you're going to be able to find just ever. It's just sublime genius. Horrible matchup. He's actually got triple dragon. I don't know why. I'd probably play this deck. I think it's a pretty good deck. But E-Drag as well. And the mini P.E.K.K.A. Just making sure any push we make makes it even harder for us. But we see, nice bit of baiting early on. We force him to use his E-Drag, and therefore we can go for Skelly King opposite lane. We also go for bats and ability. Force out the NATO. And yeah, so it's okay. I mean, we'll get a dash. Well, you could probably MK this actually. Yeah, that's fine. So at this point we're just figuring out what ground troops he has. And so we go for a nice miner. What we're doing is DPSing down the mini P.E.K.K.A. so we can get the MK jump. And also the miner was actually tanking for the MK from those Phoenix hits. So about 1,200 damage, which was nice. And then we can go for a Scobo Kite. So it's smart stuff. Also utilizing the fact he has no NATO. We know he's going to burb out to the left. So we can go for Skelly King plus ability. And we got a few hits. Plus the Golden Knight. So yeah, about 400-500 damage, not bad. We'll go Scummy the bridge, forcing out the NATO. You can see the same sort of principles, right? We have to know every card in his hand at all times to be able to do this efficiently. And we can go for the miner in that quite high placement. He kind of messes up the baby dragon. So we can do the same thing. He doesn't have great counters to the Skelly King ability, so he has to go with Golden Knight plus Phoenix. The baby dragon comes over, but it doesn't matter much. And we're trying to bait the E-Drag out, which we do successfully with the Scobo. So now, we can go in opposite lane. Basically, whenever they don't have E-Drag, you can go for the MK into the opposite lane. And this was so smart. We can go for the Skarmy plus Skelly King, because we know he wants the NATO. Then we can go for the ability, and that should defend fine. And we're also forcing our Phoenix on his left side from the defense that we made with the MK Inferno Dragon earlier. And yeah, pretty good defense actually. Go for an Inferno on the baby dragon. And we're just going for the minor bat since he has no Phoenix, no NATO in hand. And look at this. We predict his NATO. And we go for the Scobo plus Skelly King ability. Plus Skarmy. We go for the Ultra Skelly maneuver. And it's just forcing out a lot of elixir. So it doesn't really do anything. Like a little bit of damage, insignificant. We're forcing out the elixir. And what we're doing with the Inferno Dragon on the left, we want to bait out his E-Drag. Because then we can apply pressure on the right, and it also means he can't just go on the bridge and win. And then we minor predict on the Phoenix to pull it back so that we get the death damage. And we're just playing this perfectly, I have to say. So he goes for bad Golem. We're very prepared with the fat defense. Yeah, we've got the Skelly King, so that's fine. We go for some bats. We're pressuring both lanes. We're just sort of left, right, forcing the defense, making sure we can never get a massive push. This time we go for the Inferno in this lane, and we have to go MK opposite to make sure we're applying the pressure once again. With a Scobo, with a Skarmy, we need to force out that NATO. And then we're going for a Skelly King and to defend. This was very smart. We know he's going to go on the bridge, so we go for the ability. A second Inferno, all the Skellies. And then MK, because at this point, note the time, 30 seconds left. So we can actually just defend very well. Good miner. Good Inferno Dragon as well. And now we're just applying the final bits of pressure that we need to make sure he can't do anything. So he slightly mistimes the Barbaro, and that is game. Very, very nice game. Just playing so smart. Making sure he can never get a fat push. And that's sort of like, when you're playing this deck perfectly, you can beat pretty much anything if you play it perfectly like that. He did make a few errors, to be fair, but very, very smart stuff. So, we're fourth. Not bad.